Build Your IQ sessions. Today we'll be focusing on object selection. Just a few things before we start. Just a note, if you have any questions, please put that into the chat window in your screen. We do see some hands up, but if you put the question into the chat screen, we do have myself, I'll be moderating along with a few others, so we'll be checking questions there. So we're happy to have so many with us. I know we've been off for a few weeks for AU and before the Thanksgiving break, so thank you all for returning after a few weeks off. And without any further ado, I will turn the session over to Mr. Voker-Coco.
Thanks a lot, Sean. And I'd also like to welcome you, the ones who are new to our webinars, as well as any returning viewers. And I'd also like to welcome Christina Davis, who will be assisting me in this session. And hopefully we can make it nice for you. As Sean has pointed out, go ahead and leave chat or questions in the chat window, and be aware the session will be recorded, so it will be available. Having said that, they should be updated within the next few days, our landing page. All right, so just to, for those of you who have not attended before, we've actually held more than 10 webinars on a weekly basis. We will hold a webinar, and these are just some of the ones which we have posted on our landing page as well as the YouTube website. And you can find our webinars at that address there, or the channel, AutoCAD Exchange, Build Your AutoCAD IQ. Also, in our series here, just briefly, go ahead and check out our landing page for any future videos. Right now, there is a January 15th webinar that is not listed on the image you see right there, and that will be on working with AutoCAD grips. So Get a Grip is the title of that one, and it will be updated on the webinar landing page. On our landing page, we also have a feedback post. All right, you can just drop a line there for any suggestions for current or on the current webinars, or ideas for future webinars. We're willing to and want and encourage you to leave feedback for future webinars so that we can show you what you want to see. We can't promise everything, but we'll do our best to accommodate in future videos. You'll also see that we have our video recordings of the webinars embedded on this page, and there is a playlist button here. Instead of just clicking on the YouTube link, you can actually click on this playlist, and that will show you the currently posted recordings. So I encourage you to check out that site. One additional item, we like to show our Autodesk Knowledge Network website, where we have information about new articles available for AutoCAD, AutoCAD LT, in fact all of the Autodesk products. We encourage you to check this out. Typically here I will show you the top new issues or tips and tricks that have been posted on that page. Right now, I think the biggest thing of all is that if you know an educator or a student, Autodesk software is now free. So for educators and students. So spread the word on that. I think that is a very cool thing. And I think many people will find that to be very cool. So these links, which are embedded in this PowerPoint, well, the PowerPoint itself will be made available, so you'll have access to all of those links. On the Autodesk Knowledge Network, we also have hotfixes, service packs, and downloads, for which I've provided a couple of quick links here, so you can easily get to the product you're using. Again, all Autodesk products are listed on this site, so make use of it. A lot of good stuff there. All right, moving on to today's agenda. We're going to be talking about selecting objects. And many users are right away aware that they have to pick on an object in order to select it. And many have even discovered that if you move your mouse in one direction or the other after picking a point, you actually get a window where you can select these objects in your drawings. Apart from that, many methods for selecting objects are not that intuitive, okay? There are things like selecting a last point, which has been referenced. Different selection methods such as selecting the last object or the previously selected object, selecting stuff with a window polygon or a crossing polygon or a fence. And then we have tools such as quick select, add similar, and select similar, as well as selection cycling. And those are the topics we're going to cover here, and I'll also show you where you can change the default settings if you choose to do so. So when working with objects in AutoCAD and wanting to select those, as I mentioned, it's not that intuitive. One of the reasons is there's no user interface. There are no toolbars. There's not a palette with these commands on it, or a ribbon item. The only way you can really find out what they are is to be in a select mode and then go into the AutoCAD Help. All right, so you could type select at the command prompt, or you could go into the AutoCAD Help and type select, and it would take you to the location for more information about these selection tools. And I'll show you that in a moment. There is a tool called Quick Select, which does have a user interface, as you can see in this dialog here. This is the Quick Select. On the right-click context menu in AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT, we have some options to select as well as deselect. And then on the status bar, and this is not initially enabled in AutoCAD 2015, we have the selection cycling tool. So we're going to cover these. I would like to take a moment though, Sean, if you could run a couple of polls here. I actually meant to run these a little earlier.
No problem. I will start the first one now. We're just looking to hear how you heard about this webinar. So we did promote it a bit at ADU last week. There's been some other ways as well. So we're interested in how you folks are hearing about the webinars. So I'll just give this another few minutes here, give everybody a chance. And it looks like most of you heard from either direct email and some from a coworker, which may also be as a result of those direct emails.
Yeah, it's a great
fantastic
news, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll close that one. And you want me to run the second one as well, Volker?
Please.
Which, again, we're just looking to find out who on the call is a subscription customer of Autodesk. So again, we'll give this just a few moments here, give everybody a chance. And looks like most of you are subscription customers, so that's great. And for those of you that aren't, hopefully we can show some of the benefits of that as well today. So, all right, perfect. Just about everybody's voted. I'll go ahead and close that. So thank you, everyone, for giving us that information. It's a big help.
Right. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that as well. And for those on the subscription program, I certainly hope you're making use of all the resources on the subscription site. It's a great program to be involved in and get additional resources and assistance. So I've already, let's see, gone over this here, and what we will do now is take a look at how all of this works. And so let me go ahead and switch to my AutoCAD here. There we go. Okay, so I have just a pretty basic drawing here. And as I said before, when we select objects, we're pretty familiar with picking on an object and it then becomes highlighted. And if we were just to go from right to left, we have what's called a crossing window. And this crossing window will select anything that has been enclosed within that window or which it touches. So in this case here, I'm going to hit the escape key to deselect all these. I'll put another crossing window around this, and I'm just barely touching the circles and the rectangle, and it selects them. And you're probably familiar with this, may have discovered it on accident. If I go from left to right, we have the same functionality, but this is just a boxed ortho. And it's nice to see that color pattern there to let you know what kind of mode you're in. But basically, anything that is enclosed with this window will be selected. Anything that's only partially touching does not get selected. So it's a great way to be a little more specific about your selection steps. So there's obviously other ways to do this. So let's take a look real quick. I'm just going to go type select at the command line. And again, you could have gone into, into the help file. But I'm just going to type select, hit enter, and now I'm going to type, hit the F1 function key, which takes me to the AutoCAD Help. And this is where we find out what tools are available to us. Okay, so we have the default window here. Here's an option for last, a crossing window, which I demonstrated. We have box, all, fence. Fence is like drawing a line, a window polygon, crossing polygon, group selection, add, remove, multiple, previous, undo, single, and sub-object not available in AutoCAD. There is an option also to select all. Very powerful. We'll cover that. Now, I want to point out some of these functions here that you're seeing are kind of, we'll call them legacy, but really the only time you'd use them is maybe if you're running a script or are dabbling with some kind of macros, or in AutoCAD with Lisp, and AutoCAD LT with Diesel. So some of these like auto, multiple, those as well as single are really not used anymore by the typical end user. Others, such as add, remove, and multiple, those can be used or would be used most often if you were to disable what is called noun-verb selection. I'll show you later how we can do that. But basically what noun-verb selection is that I can either select an object and then give a command, or I can give the command and then I'm prompted to select objects. Okay? So noun-verb selection allows me to select objects and then give a command. All right, so let's take a look at some of these other methods for selecting objects. The first three that I showed you, you can use, so that was the pick, crossing window, and box window. You can automatically use those without being in a command. But others, like window polygon, you have to type in at the command line. And I'm just typing WP. Oops, excuse me. I have to be in a command, as I mentioned. If I go into the move command here and I type in WP, it prompts me to pick a polygon point. And basically what it's allowing me to do is just pick points to encompass those objects which I want to select. So I enter and it's selected only those two objects. We also have the same functionality, and I hit escape to deselect them. We also have the option to use the crossing polygon to do the same thing. So in this case here, I'm in a command, the move command, and I type CP at the command prompt, and again I draw a window. Now I can also do crossing here, but if I want to be a little more specific about these, I've selected the three. In this case, it would have been simpler just to pick the objects. You have to think about what kind of line you're working with, how busy is your drawing, which tool is more appropriate. So having shown these two functions, which are very cool, there's even an easier way to select objects. And I'm going to go into the move command again, and this time I'm going to type F for fence. And this allows me to draw a line, basically, through the object I want to select. And then once I've selected them, of course, I can move them or erase them, whatever command I've used. So the fence command is a very easy way just to draw a line. And it's also good to use in commands like trim and extend, where you have a line work that you need to select and draw a line through, possibly. Now, having said all that, AutoCAD 2015 actually has a new function called a Lasso function. And this here is turned on by default. And basically what it allows me to do is pick and hold down. And that allows me to draw a crossing window in a free form method. Okay, so that was one option of the lasso function. All I did was pick and drag, and I don't have to be in a command. It works just like the window or crossing window and the pick option. Here's some things not very intuitive to know that if you are using this functionality, this is very cool. As I pick and hold down, okay, I'm going to go ahead and press the space bar, and it turns this function into a window which has to, or lasso, where I have to enclose all the options or objects. So pretty much like the closed window. I'm going to hit escape. Again, I'm going to go into pick and drag mode, but this time I'm going to space bar twice and pick and drag, space bar twice, and that goes into the fence mode automatically. And again, it's more of a free-form fence than the regular fence command, which is very linear, and not linear, but a very straight line type of fashion that it's been drawn in. So those are all very cool functions here. So, yes, Sean. Or
no, I was just going to say, yeah, it's me. I was just going to say on the lasso, it's such a cool new feature. But we've had a lot of folks that have contacted us because they're not sure what it is, and they maybe are used to holding down the mouse and getting the standard rectangular windows left or right, and now when you hold down that mouse you get the lasso. So just I was going to mention, for a lot of folks, they're not sure what that is, and that is what that is. It can be turned off in the options dialog box on the selection tab. There is an option to turn off that lasso. So if it's something that you're just not either used to or don't find it particularly helpful, that can be turned off. But just a note there, because we've had a lot of questions around what exactly that is and why am I getting that instead of the standard rectangle.
Right, yeah, and we will go into the options dialog, and I'll be showing you where you can change the default settings for this. So thanks for bringing that up, Sean. Yeah, sometimes they throw in new features and you aren't aware of them, but some of them, like this lasso tool, is very nice. But again, if you're used to doing things one way, you may want to turn it off. So, so let's take a look at two very cool commands that I enjoy working with. And in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to use the mirror command. The functions are previous and last. Okay, last allows me to select the last object which I created. Previous allows me to select the last object that I modified, or previous object if you want to look at it that way. So I'm going to go into the mirror command to demonstrate this. I'll go ahead and select this polyline here and hit enter. And for our first mirror point, I'll just go ahead and pick here, and we'll go ahead and just mirror it to this place right here. Now, I want to do another mirror of this up here. And so I could easily select these objects, but if the drawing were more complex, or I selected numerous objects, I may want to go ahead and just repeat the mirror command, and then at the select objects prompt I would say, well, I want to go ahead and select L, enter, for the last object I created, and notice the highlight. It's still prompting me to select objects on the command line, so now I'm going to type P for previously modified, and it's highlighted that. I'm done selecting, and I'm going to go ahead and specify my mirror line. So a very quick way to select objects previously modified or just created. It's a tool I use quite often when I was doing a lot of drafting. So I'm hoping that'll be a nice insight for some users. One of the coolest tools that I like to use, and there are certain places where you would want to use this. I can't really specify where. It's something you got to play with and be familiar with the tool, but I've used it quite as often as well, and these examples are going to be simplistic, obviously. But it is by using the @ symbol or last reference point function in AutoCAD to select the last point I picked. So for this example here, I just kind of thought I'd show it this way. I'll go ahead and draw a line here. And maybe, so having picked this point here, that's my last reference point. Now I'm going to go ahead and type DT for dtext. And it prompts me for justification or a point. I'm going to type ML for middle left, justification. And now it says specify the middle left point of the text. So I'm just going to hold down on the Shift key and type the @ symbol and hit enter. I'll hit enter again, and one more time for the rotation, and then I'll type my text. And so I used this here insertion point for the text, the last reference point on this line. Another anywhere else, and that is I'll go ahead and just draw a circle. I typed C for circle. I'll pick a start point or a center point. We'll give it a radius of 1. And now I'm going to move my mouse off the screen a little bit here, and I'm just going to hit enter to repeat the circle command. Use the @ symbol, enter. It picks that same center point. Type a radius of 0.75. Yeah, 5. Had to find it on my keyboard. I'll repeat it again, @ symbol, enter, 0.5, enter. So just a quick way to reuse that last point. I mean, I could have used offset in this example, but I have fun with this particular function, so have to show it. Finally, for this part of the demo, let's kind of zoom in on this here, and you'll see that we have a lot of coincidental line work here. In fact, even though you can't really see it, there are 2 set copies of this hidden line work rectangle here. And this happens often, you know, we copy something or insert something, and we tend to have duplicate objects in our drawing. Sometimes somebody will overlap another line on top of an object, and so it makes it difficult to select those objects is the bottom line, especially if you don't have something extending out. So I already have this particular tool on and showing on my taskbar. It's called selection cycling. It's a system variable, actually. And if you don't see that in AutoCAD 2015, AutoCAD LT 2015, you may have to turn that on. selection cycling. In AutoCAD 2014 and earlier, it is already available in that taskbar. So basically how this works is as I hover over this, you'll see there's a couple of, in AutoCAD 2015, a couple of squares overlapping each other indicating that we have coincidental line work. I believe that's available in 2014 as well. But as I select an object, notice that little selection dialog that pops up here. So it allows me to select the polyline in this case, or in this case here where it's actually hidden, you'll see it shows the two polylines, allowing me to easily select one and then erase it. With several different objects, here we have 3 of them, it's showing me all 3 of those, and I can usually hover over these and then select the item, and then I can modify it any way I need to. So hopefully that'll be a helpful tool for a lot of people. Sometimes it can get in the way. Hey, we can easily toggle it off until we need it, and it's not going to interfere with your everyday work. Remember, all the demo here for so, as I mentioned, we have the select. You can find that right here on the property actively with the properties palette, as you'll see in a moment. You can also get to this on the right mouse click menu on the context-sensitive menu that's available there. So this is a great tool to be able to select objects in your drawing. You can use it within a command or without being in a command. By default here, because I have nothing selected, it shows the entire drawing. I'm going to just quickly get out of this for a moment and make a selection set here. And having put a window around this area, using QSelect, it says, okay, the current selection, you want to find what? Okay, well, again, I'm going to cancel out that. I just wanted to show you the multiple. Actually, I could also do this, I suppose. Just change this back to entire drawing. That's a better example. What this does is it allows me to select any object within the drawing. It scans the database for the different objects types. So here we have M-text in this drawing, several block references, polylines, and line work. So in this case, what has happened here is I'm looking at my drawing and I notice that these room tags are actually on layer 0. And I need to put them on a layer called room number. Well, as you can see, there's quite a few of them in this drawing. I don't want to manually select all those, or I could turn off or freeze all the layers except for that one. But what if not all the room tags are on layer 0? What if some are on a wall layer by accident? So quick select is a good choice for this. So I'll just go ahead and right mouse click, repeat quick select, and I've already selected that block reference. Let's go ahead and change this just to show you. I'll go ahead and select multiple block reference, and it shows me all the different properties that I can select by. So color by layer. Be aware, color is only going to work if you have the color property assigned to the object. If the color is by layer, you're going to have to choose by layer. Same thing with line type and any of the other properties that can be assigned to an object. But we can choose by location, scale. In this case, I'm going to select name. Okay, and again, rotation, whether they're annotative, block unit, and more options. And depending on the object, you have different options. Here we have some operators: equal, not equal to, match a wildcard, or select all. I'm going to go ahead and, since I have numerous blocks, I want to go ahead and make sure that I select the room num block. And once I do that, I'm going to click OK. And the property palette shows that I have 99 different blocks here, or of that type. So I'm now just going to use the property palette to change this from layer 0 to my room number layer where they belong. I'll hit escape to deselect, and now when I select that block, again, you can see it's room num. So an easy way to select all those objects, and again, you can actually, filter out a lot more stuff than this example showed, but trying to make you aware of the tool. So quick select, very handy. Yep.
Sorry, I'm going to break in just while you finish up that thought. We do have a couple questions. So Christina answered a few, but just in case anybody isn't watching the chat window, there's a question that you're using LT 2015. There was a question on if that's available publicly yet, and as Christina said, yes, it is. It actually came out, I believe, in April, so the 2015 products are available. There was another question on if you could repeat the command for selection cycling.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. I'll switch back over to the select drawing, okay, since I am done with quick select here. As far as the AutoCAD 2015 product line goes out, if you're a subscription, just member, just go to the subscription site and you can download your upgrade there. So thanks for bringing that up, Sean. So yep. If you do not have quick select available on your taskbar, click on this little customization icon on the far right, and you can enable that selection cycling. Once it shows here, you can turn it on, and if you select an object, then it brings up the selection dialog, and if it has more than one object underneath, it's not going to pop up if it's only one piece of line work. You're not going to get this function, but if there's more than one item overlapping another item, you're going to get this selection dialog, and then you can choose the object that you need to modify. So I hope that that clarifies that.
Yes, thank you. There was also a question about actually about plotting and plotting in black and white. So for Jonathan, we did have a plotting session. You can find that on our landing page, the recording to that plotting session. So just in order to keep this session on track, we'll ask you to, if you could look at that recording there to get that so we don't take too much time here. What I will say is if that does not give you your answer, please go ahead and either post a, submit a case if you're a subscription customer, and we can help you that way, or you could post a question to our landing page, and one of us will be more than happy to help you there. But in order to stay on topic, we're not going to not go too deep into that in this session here. And then the other question, Volker, was if you have time at the end, I'm not sure how much more you have to cover, but if you could go over the lasso selection one more time at the end if you have time for that.
I can certainly do that, and if you could remind me, Sean, in case I get carried away.
Sure.
No. Yep, I only have 2 more topics I want to show, and while we're in this one this drawing again right now, I'll show the select all function. Now, select all allows me to select everything in the drawing. So in this drawing, there's not much here. But basically, anytime I go into a command, so I'll go into move, when it, whoops, I need to deselect that. There we go. Move. At the select objects prompt, I can type all, enter, and it selects everything. And then I could hit enter again and do the modify action. The thing I want to make you aware of here, I mean, this is a very easy command to use. It's great if you have to get rid of a bunch of stuff, or hey, I need to get rid of one object or all this stuff, but I want to go ahead and hold down on the shift key right now and deselect these objects right here. Okay, shift will allow me to deselect, and then I could move the rest of this. Okay, so very, very simple to work with. But what I need to make you aware of is, and I'll show it in an example here, I'm going to go ahead and take this layer hidden here, and I'm going to turn it off. And then I'll go ahead and select an object on the layer rectangle, and I'm going to go ahead and free that layer. Okay? So hidden is off. Rectangle is frozen, everything else is visible here. So this may have been done by another user. You're working on the project, and yeah, boss told me to just get rid of everything here except for a couple of things, and I'll just go ahead and go into the erase command. So I typed E, enter, it tells me to select objects. I'm going to go ahead and type all, and maybe I need to deselect. Shift to deselect these 2 items. These are the only things the boss really wants me to keep here. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. It erases everything. I do know that I have some stuff on a frozen and off layer that I did want to keep. And so I'll go ahead and enable. Here's my rectangle. I've turned it back on again. But I'm going to go ahead now and turn on the layer for hidden, and you'll see we have nothing there. Select all is very powerful. It will select everything in the drawing, whether it's that layer for those objects is turned on or off. It's going to select it. The only reason it's not selecting the stuff on the frozen layer is because basically AutoCAD locks that in the database and pretends it doesn't exist. So when you're selecting all, it ignores that. So be aware of that with select all. Otherwise, a very cool tool to select everything and then shift to deselect the stuff you don't want to modify. So one more item, and that is going back to the floor plan. And well, it's actually 2 items, but it's one process really. Here we have in the right-click menu, it's not available when you don't have an object selected, but if I select the text here, you'll see that I have options to add selected, select similar, or deselect all. And basically the example I'm going to do here in a moment is very similar to what I did with quick select. But let me deselect all, and you'll see that we have a different style of text here as opposed to this style here. And in fact, this text here is called select. And I want all my text to look like this. I don't want to look like this architext here. So what I'm going to do is tell AutoCAD, right mouse click and select similar. And you'll see it actually selects everything here. Okay. Go back into this command, select similar, and by having gone out of that now, this is not available if you're right-clicking and selecting something for select. Don't just get it in. So this is how you do things. What it does by default, it just selects objects that are similar based on layer and the name of that object. I want to go into this dialog and make those changes. For the most part, this works well right here, layer and object name. So again, when just selecting something, you don't get that option to go into settings. You need to type in that command. It's important to note. Either way, it's selected all my text that is similar based on layer and object. And I'm going to change that now to my select text style. And I've easily updated the text in my drawing. So that is some very cool functionality there as well. Now let's say I need to add some more of this text based upon this style and the layer. Okay, I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to tell it to add selected. And so it goes into the end text editor. I'll go ahead and just make a corner here and I'll type in my name. And I've added text based on that style and layer. This also works very well with blocks. I need to add some more of this furniture into my drawing. Right mouse click, select, or I have two objects selected, and add selected. And there it places my block. I have to go through the prompts, obviously, but it places the block of that name on the layer that it was added to originally. So some very cool functionality here as far as quickly adding or selecting objects in your drawing. So we've talked about this here a couple of times, this the options dialog. I right mouse clicked over the command line in case you missed that, and it brings up this menu. I can also type OP for options. It's also under the application browser menu, options. And I want to go to the selection tab. So here's where we can change the pick box size if you're just picking stuff in your drawing. I really wouldn't increase the size of this too much. I've seen people put it all the way at the top value, and that's an awfully large pick box. Okay, I usually keep it a value of about 3. If I were to type in pick box at the command line, you would see that would be a value of 3. Here's also where you can turn off noun verb selection. So if you want to make sure you're always selecting the command first and then picking objects, if that's how you want to work with AutoCAD, you would disable noun verb selection. And in that case, you could use the shift to add to your selection. So after you've gone into the command, you've selected some stuff, use shift to add, because with noun verb selection turned off, when you pick on an object, it deselects it without you having to hold down the shift key. So also options to disable selecting objects as a group for associative hatches, and this is what Sean was referring to earlier, this allow press drag for lasso. Okay, so if you don't like that functionality and you just want to use the pick to select objects the normal way, then and that would be this allow press and drag on object function, then you would want to uncheck this and check this. This actually to me should be a radio button because only one of these options really works at a time. And you also have this press and drag, click, or use both depending on what you're doing to select your windows. And again, the AutoCAD Help explains a lot of this and some of the other options for selecting here. One of the things I do want to point out, the reason this value is here is because of the properties palette. You may do a select all and find out that your drawing is all of a sudden just bogging down. This is actually shouldn't happen with this value here, but you can certainly increase this, or if you don't have a lot of resources and you're selecting too many objects, maybe you want to decrease this in size to free up those resources. A lot of other options here, though, as well. I'm just going to cancel.
If I can, before you move on, Volker, we have a few questions. If it's okay, I'll just get some of those out there. So and thank you, Christina. Christina's doing a great job answering these. But I'll reiterate a few just in case anyone's not looking at the chat window. So there was a question about the VBA enabler or VBA macros. Are they supported with the latest version? And Christina, do you actually want to just chat about that for a moment since you answered that question?
You're catching her off guard.
Is she not on mic? So essentially VBA 7, oh, there you go.
VBA 7.1 is, oh, I apologize, there was a delay in the unmute. So yeah, so VBA 7.1 is supported in Autodesk products, but it's no longer a part of the default installation. So if you do have programs that you're working on that are using that, you'll have to go out separately and install that. And in the questions chat window, I have posted the link to the article on our site that discusses that in more detail.
Okay, great. And there was another question about, not necessarily about the options, but a question that we've seen quite a bit as well. Christina also answered this one, but if you could just go back to AutoCAD for a second, Volker. So for folks who still type, a lot of people have noticed with the autocomplete, if you're a quick typer, you're not necessarily getting the commands that you wanted to get. So if you right-click right on the command line, Volker, and yet go to Input Settings, there's two options in there. The first one is autocomplete, so you can just turn that off completely if you want to, and then that will eliminate together. If you want to still use autocomplete, but your typing is just a little bit too quick, you'll notice there was also a section there for delay time, or an option there for delay time. Under Input Settings, there's a delay time, which you can just extend how long you're telling AutoCAD to wait before it brings up those autocomplete settings. So those are the two options there.
I'm going to add to that one real quick.
Sure.
I found that 400 or 500 is the perfect speed for most people. 300 is the default value, but try 400, and you may find that'll work a lot better for you, or even 500. But the autocomplete is a nice functionality.
Yeah, we hate to see you turn that off because it really is, if you're looking for a command, it's such a great way to find it if you maybe only remember a part of the command. So,
or system variable.
Yeah, so we hate to see you turn it off, but maybe try the delay first. There was a question about if we've had a session yet on groups or array, and Christina posted in the link there for our suggestions. So there has not been one yet, but please, we welcome, like Volker said at the beginning, any and all suggestions. So we can try and put a class together on that going forward. There was a question, how does the select all command work with hidden objects?
Okay, well, and that was actually the example I kind of showed there with the off command. You're talking about hidden, hide object, hide selection, I think it is. Do we have that? Isolate objects, hide objects. This would work just like as if you had turned off the layer. It would erase those objects. The only thing it will erase are those items on a frozen layer.
Great. The next question was, how can you select objects in an XREF, especially when overlaying?
In command, AutoCAD, not LT, but AutoCAD has an express tool that allows you to select nested objects in an XREF or a block. But other than that, in AutoCAD LT and even core AutoCAD, really the easiest way to do that is to use X open, and I prefer that over ref edit. the thing about reference files, I think the key word there is that they are reference files. So it's they kind of keep you from accidentally selecting stuff in those reference. There's a reason that's kind of locked out from the selection steps.
All right, and the last question we had for now is, can you recommend a good resource for a neophyte CAD user? Presently, I'm using plot existing drawings.
In addition to these webinar stuff.
So when you first launch AutoCAD, we have a little page here. Okay, so it's up to default page, and here's this great Hitchhiker's Guide to AutoCAD Basics. And I would encourage you to go through this. It gives you the glossy overview, but it provides step-by-step instructions on how to use, all the basic AutoCAD functionality. So, very good question, I think, for anybody who is very new or only works with AutoCAD for, briefly every day or once a week or once a month. Or you just need a refresher on where some of the tools are. That's in addition to videos here as well.
Yeah, and just while you're on this page, Volker, just for everybody, this is a great page to look at. So when you first open AutoCAD, for those of you on 2015, there is the Learn and the Create tabs. By default, it goes to the Create tab, which is what you're seeing right now on screen. You can start a new drawing, use a template, existing drawings. Not too many folks go over and click on that Learn tab, but it's probably a good thing to do. Maybe once a week or so, just click over there. We do use this, so for instance, you'll see the tip right now are these sessions that you're in right now. So that's been up there for several months, but I know a lot of folks don't go over to this Learn page, so you may not have seen it. But we do use this Learn page to help promote events like this one you're joining right now. We change the videos from time to time for different subjects, so I know everyone's usually in a rush to get in and get to your drawings right away, but like I said, just once in a while just click over on that Learn tab when you first open AutoCAD, because we do use this to try and push out information that we think is useful for you folks.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I find this to be very, just right now, showing off this Hitchhiker's AutoCAD Basics. That in itself is worth promoting. So let me just finish up here and get a couple, and then we can answer some more questions. First of all, point be available. I put in some additional resources selecting objects. So one of the overlapping objects for select side, there's that as well, a more dialogue beyond the scope of this webinar, and some commands and system variables for selecting object. Coming attractions also, line cams, polylines, working with groups and arrays. So, maybe there's a good possibility we can take a look at that one as well. I'm going to just, let me end this. Let me go over the Lasso tool real briefly. I'll just spend 30 seconds on that. And then if I could have Sean run the polls, that would be great. Here's a cool little function. I've erased all this stuff. I'm going to type oops and if you aren't familiar with it, it's a nice little tool. No, from the client, in fact, the last erased objects drawn, as long as, of course, it's kind of like an undo for erased objects. Let's do this. I'm just going to pick the Lasso. And if I were to his bar, an enclosed window, hitting it again to then the window polygon or crossing polygon or even the fence option. So if you have 2015, nice functionality.
Okay, so Evan did say he's still just getting the rectangle. What we'll do, Evan, if you go to your help command, just type in Lasso, and following the steps there might give you a little bit of a better idea of how we're doing that. I know sometimes it's hard to show just when it's a mouse click. It's harder to show on a webinar. If it still does not work for you, please post that question to our feedback page, and one of us will be happy to reach out to you on that. So, do you want me to run this last poll, Volker?
Yeah. Before you do that, though,
sure.
I mean, this is the link you want to go to right here, and on there you'll see the AutoCAD webcast webinar feedback post. You can also email your suggestion to this particular email address with Build Your AutoCAD IQ in the subject line, followed by whatever comments you have. So, anyway, Sean, if you could run the last polls there.
I will, and just before I do that, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for the questions. It looks like there's going to be a few we won't be able to get to, but we love the feedback and especially the questions. So please, keep those coming in future sessions. It's really nice to have that. So just a few more polls if we could here before we close. So first, we're just looking if you learned something new today about selection and choosing objects. And that's great. With almost 70%, we have 99% yes. So great job for you, Volker. You can take the rest of the day off.
Yeah, right.
And we will go to the next poll, which is overall, we're just looking for how satisfied you are with our session today. Again, this is really useful to us going forward. And again, for those that are dissatisfied, we'd love to hear why. So if you could use that feedback link and just let us know what you'd like to see going forward. We are doing these sessions for you guys, the users, so we'd love to have the feedback on what we can do to improve these going forward. But most of you look like you're satisfied today, so we're glad to hear that. And the last one we will do is if you plan to attend a session going forward in the future. And that's great to see, 96% saying yes. So we love to see that, and we certainly look forward to it. Like I said, we have next week, then we'll take a break, but we're excited to have most of you come back in the future. So I will close this one as well and turn it back to Volker for any last thoughts.
Yeah, well, I have to concur with Sean. I'm very happy with the feedback there. Although for those who were unsatisfied, I really wish I could have done more to make this a happier experience for you. Again, send in that feedback to let us know what we're doing wrong or right, and we definitely do take a look at that feedback. So thanks, everybody, for attending. We appreciate your time. We know you're busy, and we hope to see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.